Guys, do you feel like you're doing everything right in dating, but you just can't seem to find the lasting love that you want? What if I told you that your dating struggles likely have nothing to do with your looks or your job or your hobbies or any of those things that you're trying to fix right now? What if the real issue runs much deeper to your very ability to create an intimate connection with another human being? I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and I am here to pull back the curtain on the elusive reason that you cannot find lasting love. The issue isn't you. It's your attachment style. Let me explain. Attachment styles describe how we emotionally connect with other human beings. It largely forms in childhood as we learn to trust our caregivers. Now, healthy attachment means connecting properly and bonding with other people while expecting emotional safety and security. Unhealthy attachment happens when we struggle to trust other people out of fear of betrayal or fear of abandonment. So the pain and disappointment that you have experienced in dating likely stems from unhealthy attachment issues. That's that inability to open up, to be vulnerable, and to foster secure, intimate bonds. It wasn't your fault, but it is now your responsibility to manage it and fix it. And that's the good news, because with the right help, you can heal your attachment style and finally attract a relationship where you feel understood and cherished. So stick around till the end, as this might just be the missing piece to your love puzzle. Let's get into it. So let me show you how attachment issues sabotage your efforts to connect in dating by telling you about a real-life client story. Let's call him Marcus. Now, Marcus, a client of mine, came to me burned out after years of failed online dates. You might sympathize with this. He was ready to give up on finding true love because he didn't think it existed. Although he was successful in his career, Marcus struggled to open up emotionally and always had been held back from intimacy. Now, in childhood, his parents had a bitter divorce that left him believing that relationships could never last. So he never wanted to open himself up for that pain to happen in his life. Now, through our sessions together, Marcus learned that his avoidance was rooted in unhealthy attachment from those childhood wounds. He was afraid of ever getting hurt again, like he had got hurt back then, and like he had seen his parents hurt each other. He wanted to make sure that would never happen to him, so he just gave up on love. Now, Marcus's story is way more common than you might think. Right now, here's a funny statistic, over 50% of people today grow up with insecure attachment from factors in their life like parental divorce, neglect, abuse, problems in the family, medical issues when you were a child, daycare issues for extended daycare. The research shows this. There are so many factors that can lead to broken attachment today, even if it was unintentional. So the result is an inability to form those secure, intimate bonds in adulthood that you need to build lasting relationships. So what does insecure attachment feel like in dating and relationships? I'm going to make this really clear. Here are some signs to look for. It can feel like fear of committing into a relationship and getting into intimate moments due to those past relationship wounds. Some people are afraid they're going to get trapped. Some people are afraid there's going to go to a certain point where they'll be discovered as a fraud. Getting too close is terrifying. Now, this can make it difficult to fully trust your partners and really open up, so you're locked down all the time and never really relaxing into that connection. All of this causes that avoidance of emotional vulnerability out of fear of getting judged or betrayed or abandoned. It is terrifying to even think about becoming emotionally intimate with the other person. Now, this partner often will become obsessed with attaining the perfect romantic partner who will complete them, and that will never ever happen, because they're looking to be completed and get a feeling from the other person that will finally make them feel what they've always wanted to feel. And that's just not going to happen. All of this fear and pain leads to extreme anxiety about that abandonment or betrayal. But you can also have a tendency to what's called love bomb prospective partners, where you overload them with great feelings so that you saturate them so they will act properly down the road. You're managing them. But you can also become codependent, where you are throwing good things at them and becoming needed in their life so they can never abandon you. But once emotional intimacy does start to build up, it terrifies you, and you may start pulling away and becoming more anxious because now you're afraid of being too close. You can also build up a lot of jealousy and control issues from that lack of trust. All the time, I have guys coming in with retroactive jealousy where they have had sex with way more partners than their female partner has, but the fact that she ever has with anybody just drives them insane, and makes them ruin their relationships. Finally, because you're terrified of never being taken seriously and listened to and treated fairly, when you get into a conflict, you may have verbal combativeness from those unaddressed emotional needs that you don't know how to ask to get met. So you will be afraid to connect with other people, and when you finally do, it's a fight. Now, do any of these feelings sound familiar? This is what Marcus was dealing with. If these do sound familiar, attachment insecurity might be the hidden, real reason that your relationships never seem to work out. In this case, it might be avoidant attachment, which is the tendency to run away from connection because it feels scary to trust others. Now, I all the time, and other people who talk about attachment, focus on anxious attachment, fear of abandonment, fear of feeling like an imposter, fear of believing that you don't deserve love, so you try to codependently get needed. But I'm talking especially today to people who have avoidant attachment style, because a lot of times you guys get ignored and missed, but you're the ones who are most in need of love and connection because you never get it. So you might be wondering right now, as I've said that, how to tell if you have avoidant attachment style. So it's your turn. Let's go through a checklist right now and find out if you might have avoidant attachment style. Grab a pen and paper and let's tick off together how many of these apply to you. Number 1, valuing independence over connection. People with avoidant attachment, they might prioritize their independence and self-sufficiency to an extent that they avoid those close or interpersonal relationships. We talked about that earlier. Losing that safety, losing that barrier makes them feel trapped and afraid. Number 2, difficulty with sharing feelings. Avoidant people often find it challenging to open up about their feelings or their needs or their desires, so they usually keep those emotions and vulnerabilities locked inside themselves and never let them out. Number 3 is discomfort with closeness. It's like being close makes your skin crawl. They might feel really uneasy when someone gets way too close, and they might employ distancing techniques when they sense this happening. They might, after the bedroom act, jump up immediately, put their clothes back on, and then be out of the room. Some people, some women especially, can't do that act face to face. It has to be facing away because too close is way too uncomfortable. And a lot of men say that when women try to get too touchy-feely and affectionate with them, they start to feel like pulled at, like they're being strangled. Now, the number 4 reason is one of the biggest ones. Skeptical about true love. People with attachment issues might find it really hard to believe that love actually exists, specifically lasting love. They believe it to be a myth or a fantasy. These are the people that will say, love is just a feeling. It's a combination of chemicals. It always wears off. It will always die. Remember Marcus at the beginning, he watched his parents split up. So that was his only understanding he grew up with for what to expect of love. It will die, right? A lot of people with attachment issues, their parents explained their divorce by saying, sometimes people just fall out of love. It just doesn't work. And they grow up believing that. So because they don't believe in lasting love, number 5, a lot of people with avoidant attachment downplay the importance of relationships. They might minimize the importance of romantic relationships in their life. They might just state that they're content being alone. Even if they feel lonely, they don't see the point. They might not actually see the point because they've never fully felt a real connection with another person. So it just feels like a bunch of dopamine rush in the first 6 months and then disappointment. You can't blame them for this because that's all they've experienced. So that's all they know. So love doesn't seem that important because love is fake, right? Now this leads us to number 6, avoiding conflict. Instead of addressing issues in a relationship head on, working with the other person, cooperating, avoidant people might prefer to retreat or distance themselves and solve the problem alone, or just pull out until the problem goes away to avoid confrontations. Because the core belief is that nobody is ever going to take you seriously, no one is ever going to be fair with you, and no one is ever going to work with you to solve for mutual fulfillment. That's the core of this, is the belief no one else will be fair with you. So they avoid conflict. That's why they avoid intimacy, because intimacy will eventually bring them into conflict with somebody where they will be treated unfairly and trapped. This is why, number 7, avoidant people hesitate when committing or not committing at all. They might be wary of making any long-term commitments because they fear it could be a trap or it could restrict them, or it's going to lead to disaster because love dies anyway, right? This is why a lot of avoidant people are petrified at the thought of getting into a relationship. I have tons of coaching clients come to me when they're engaged and the guys love the woman, but they are terrified. And they say, should I just leave and have a bunch of one-night stands? It'll feel better, right? They want love, but they also are afraid to believe in it because they're afraid they're going to get their heart broken. Now, number 8, focusing on small flaws. A lot of people with avoidant attachment style, they focus on small imperfections or flaws in their partner as a way to distance themselves or as an excuse to not get too involved, right? Well, I couldn't marry her because one eye was a little bit more green than the other eye. Yeah, I could see how you would break up with her on your wedding day for that. Well, I couldn't stay with him. He just could not cook spaghetti right. And that was just so important to me, No. It's focusing on small flaws because they've convinced themselves that the horrible, crawling, miserable feeling that they have thinking about investing in the relationship is rationalized by that small thing. It's not reasonable. It's all down to fear. But they don't want to give in to that fear, so they make a justification. Which brings us to number 9, reluctance to meet emotional needs. People with avoidant attachment, they might feel uncomfortable or overwhelmed when a partner turns to them for emotional support because they often feel like they're being asked for too much. Now, this isn't true all the time, but it's especially true if they get into a relationship with someone who has the opposite, the anxious attachment, the craving for approval, the craving and needing constant reassurance, people who are scared and have a hard time self-regulating. The avoidant person, that builds intense intimacy, and over time they start to feel trapped, like someone's strangling them, pulling them in, and it feels like it's way too much. So they start to feel resentful at being dragged in to regulate someone else from their perspective. Okay, harsh honesty time. How many of these boxes did you check? Each one that you tick off is one more reason that you are struggling in dating. And I will tell you this, attachment issues are no joke because they can cause a lot of suffering, as you know all too well. Now, that suffering can take a lot of forms. One of them is the aching void of loneliness. When you're lying there at night, staring up at the ceiling saying, is this all there is? When you're just feeling like you wish you had somebody close that you could talk with. When you see other people, you walk by a restaurant and look in and there's friends laughing and connecting and you say, how do people do that? And then those silent nights where it's just your thoughts in your head and that's all you have for company is your own thoughts over and over and over again. And then when you go out and try to connect, there's that hope and then the subsequent disappointment with every single date that just seems to confirm that nobody is going to connect with you and be honest anymore. So then after dates, what do you feel? You might blame yourself. You might wonder, what's wrong with me? Am I the issue? You might say, what's wrong with everyone else? If you go look on the internet, oh man, there's all kinds of horrible stories out there about what's wrong with everybody else and how you're never going to find love. And it just starts to make you more and more miserable. So many of the guys who come to me with avoidant attachment have studied red pill because it seems to validate their bad experiences and it seems to make them understand why they can never find real connection. And so many people who have attachment issues, if they do get into a relationship, they have messy breakups, awful breakups. Some of my most avoidant but nicest, kindest men who come to work with me, they feel terribly guilty when they have to disconnect from an anxious partner who they feel is smothering them to death. And they feel awful breaking that person's heart and making them cry, but they just can't handle it anymore. And who would want to enter another relationship after an experience like that? Because then you start to feel to blame for issues and for hurting other people. And you start thinking, man, maybe it really is my fault. And you start remembering those people crying. And you say, yeah, but it was unreasonable. Yeah, but I really made them cry. And you start falling apart inside yourself. This is where a lot of guys with avoidance issues start developing a shame about not being the person that they want to be. They start violating their principles. They say, man, I'm not a very honest person. I don't like that about myself, but I feel like I have to lie just to make things smooth. And they don't like who they become, but they don't know how to be anything different. Then they are afraid that they're never going to find a lasting connection or any kind of fulfillment in their life. This is the pain of attachment issues, you guys. This is why it's not a joke. And this is why I work so hard to try to teach people and show them a better way, because you don't have to feel this way. And that's the message I want to hammer home today, because feeling confused and hopeless about changing is totally normal at this point. So you might be thinking, I just grew up this way and I can't change it, or I am too old to alter my attachment style. But the great news is that attachment patterns are never set in stone. And with the right help, you can fundamentally transform how you relate to other people and create secure, intimate, lifelong bonds. The oldest person I have ever helped fix their attachment was 79 years old and terminally ill. And they still fixed it and built incredible connections that fulfilled them for the rest of their life. Now, as the attachment specialist with over 15 years of experience, I have helped thousands of clients like you break free from their unhealthy attachment behaviors and enjoy healthy, lasting love. And I have seen it time and again. With the right support, people can shake off their avoidance and learn to accept real intimacy, even if you're 79 years old and terminally ill. And ladies who are watching this, and I know that you are, please know that this works in many ways the same for many women. To many of my female clients, the understanding of true, secure attachment comes even faster than it does for the male ones, because sometimes women are more emotionally intuitive about those connections and what's possible. A healthy attachment bond feels like finally finding the place that you belong, of releasing your clenched hands from the steering wheel of your life and taking a deep breath. Now, a loving partner, somebody that you can trust completely, will help you release that tension that you've held in your whole life and finally relax your heart. Now, my proven process for fixing this focuses on gently healing past attachment wounds, learning critical new relationship skills, and embracing vulnerability, even when it feels scary. And I know it does. I empower my clients to let down their walls, to communicate meaningfully, and to ultimately attract partners who appreciate this new authenticity in you. So if you have ever wished you could have an aha moment that would change everything in your dating life, Marcus had his, and you could just be minutes away. So let me show you how Marcus transformed his life by transforming himself through this attachment work. So the first thing that I did working with Marcus was to help him identify the 4 levels of trust. Now, the 4 levels of trust is how you figure out who is worthy of your trust and you relying on them, who to open up to and who not to open up to. Now, those 4 levels of trust, as Marcus learned them, are number 1, are they consistent with their personal values, their principles, honesty, integrity, loyalty? Are they self-policing with these things? Do you not have to hold them to moral conduct and honesty because they value those things so much? You, if you're an avoidant person, don't want to have to police other people's behavior. That's where a lot of your challenges come from, is believing you have to. So finding that level 1 trust where you don't police them, absolutely, absolutely vital. Number 2, do they have long-term goals that they keep aiming back to that helps them self-police? I want to achieve this. I will never let myself fall below these standards because that is so important to me. That right there makes them also trustworthy. That's a level 2 relationship. Now, a level 3 relationship is mutual acceptance. Can they be honest about their problems and their challenges while also working on them? You don't have to just accept their crap. They know it's there. They're honest with you about it. They receive criticism and they keep working on their issues. And you can do the same. Can you open up with them about your issues and say, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm working on it. You don't have to just enable me. I'm doing it. And we're taking care of each other as we accept each other's problems. Level 4 is mutual fulfillment. Can you do all of these other things? Trust each other to be self-policing, relax in each other's presence as a result, work on solving conflicts together based on those good principles and goals, and then mutually fulfill each other as you care about each other. Can you do that? Level 4, highest level of intimacy there is. That's all 4 of these. You walk through them. And I showed Marcus how to do that. I can show you too. Now, the next piece Marcus unlocked was viewing sharing his needs and expectations as creating safety instead of creating risk. A lot of people with avoidant attachment, they believe that sharing context at all, needs and expectations, means the other people will not care about them. For Marcus, when he was little, his mother would not come in his room and say, oh, sweetheart, we got to fix this and do this and do this. She would start cleaning up and throwing stuff around and make him miserable. And he would say, don't throw that. And she'd say, it's in my way. And she'd make this big fuss. And these were really important things for him. In fact, I've heard this from several men, not just Marcus, that moms did this and completely disregarded what was important. So they didn't learn mom is going to come help me and care for me. They didn't learn I have needs and expectations and people will care. They learned no one cares how I feel. They only care how they feel. So sharing needs and expectations, you got to be careful about that because no one will care about you. But when you share needs and expectations up front, other people can say, reasonable people can say, oh, great. Yeah, I can do that for you. Can you do this for me? Can we take care of each other and exchange care, mutually fulfill each other? Secure people love that from you. So avoidant people feel safest when expectations are clearly stated, because then they can just relax into them. They never have to wonder what the other person wants or is trying to get. Everything is on the table. So the one thing they're afraid of doing is the one thing that makes them feel safe. Marcus also had to understand that opening up selectively was really important because Marcus would not open up at all. He had to learn to open up to other people in a way that most secure people learn, which is to go to them and say, hey, can I get some insight from you? I'm going through this challenge and here's some feedback I could really use. Do you happen to have any solutions for me that I could use? People love when you open up about your challenges in a solution-focused way. But again, using those 4 levels of trust, you know who to open up to and how. This is how most people open up and connect, is by building that intimacy through sharing solutions and giving example and asking help and building that intimacy. That's how most people do it. Marcus had no idea. Maybe you don't either. You can learn. Now, Marcus, like I said, he came in, he was burned out on dating. Part of that was because he was always performing on dating. He was not authentic. He tried to be interesting and fun, and that was the exact same thing that kept him stuck, only dating people who wanted to be stimulated, not people who wanted an authentic connection. So I taught Marcus to be more authentic on dates. For example, opening up the first date with, hey, you know what? Where do you live? And why do you live there? What makes you want to live in that city or in that area of the city? What is it? What do you do for a living? And what drew you to that? What's your passion? What's the best part of that? What's the worst part of that? Being more authentically curious, right? There's also the rule of 2/3. When somebody asks you a question, someone with avoidance, they give the minimum and then blast back to the other person, and it makes you seem evasive. Learning the 2/3 rule is that you give about 50% of an answer of what they gave at minimum, so you're not evasive, and at maximum 75% of the length of answer that they recently gave, so that they don't start getting tired and bored of your explanation, and they can retain more information. Give about 2/3, roughly 2/3 of the answer that they recently gave. That's a great piece. And then ask more questions. When Marcus did this, and when he learned to, at the end of dates, say, you know what, I had a great time. This was fun. I would love to talk with you again. Can we have another date? When he learned to go in for the ask and state how he felt instead of playing games, trying to figure it out, women started responding in a really, really big way. He didn't have a lack of good dates. He had several great connections that he then had to choose from. And he had to be authentic while he was choosing from them. Now, once he did make that connection, he had to fully, authentically connect inside that romantic relationship. Like being able to ask for space in other relationships had been terrifying for Marcus. Once he picked one good partner, he built a relationship with her. And then he had to say, is it okay if I get some space for myself this weekend? I could use some time to recharge on my own. And instead of her freaking out, what did I do wrong? Why do you need time from me? She said, yeah, great. Enjoy your weekend. Cool. I'm going to go do stuff with my friends then. And he said, I remember he sent me an email, Adam. My girlfriend said it's okay if I go spend time by myself. Is this a trap? No, that's a secure partner. It's a very secure partner. I'm laughing because a secure partner is shocking to an avoidant partner. It is shocking to know that you can just ask and connect. So because he could ask and connect in those relationships, he was able to solve conflicts better. Instead of running away, conflict, and bailing out, he could say, okay, well, this is kind of scary for me, but let's solve this together. What's your side of the issue? Oh, okay. Well, here's my side of the issue. Oh, you're not yelling at me? Oh, you're actually listening. Okay. Well, all right. Well, here's what we could do together. Oh, yeah, that's a great compromise. Okay, that works. Conflict resolution like that. If you want to build that, You got to be like Marcus. Now, because he took these steps, Marcus built a romantic love that he never imagined he could ever experience. A secure connection that was based on trust and respect. So if you've never experienced that, it might be really hard for you to imagine. So I'm going to make this simple. Here's what it looks like to be in a securely connected romantic relationship. Now, when a couple is securely connected, they're able to ask for their needs to get met, and the other person's happy to accommodate. Hey, sweetheart, I'm going to have a really, really hard day, and I'm exhausted, and I hate to ask you this, but could you, at the end of the day, have like a warm dinner for me, maybe at 7 o'clock? I'm not going to have time, and I could just really use it. Yeah, of course I will. That makes me happy. I'd be happy to take care of you. Thank you for asking me and giving me a way to take care of you. Really? That's okay? Yes, absolutely. That's a normal conversation. That's a normal conversation for an avoidant person with a secure partner. Imagine at the end of the day being able to ask for help. Imagine if your partner at the end of the day needed that and they could calmly ask you instead of hinting, instead of resenting, instead of making you guess. Like, do I want something? Do I not? Hey, babe, I'm going to have a really hard day. Could you take care of me at the end of the day? Yeah, sure. Let me DoorDash right now. Super easy. Now, because you can be this clear, right? We talked about Marcus and his mom not taking him seriously, throwing his stuff around, making him feel like crap. It was hard for Marcus to open up and build that. So imagine in a relationship, a secure one, that you can say, you know, I need to share this with you. It's something hard. You know, cleanliness is really important to me. And when you come home, you throw your shoes and your purse and everything everywhere. And it just kind of gets on me because I feel like I have to go clean it up. So is there something we can do that would be easier? The other person doesn't go, well, screw you. It's my house too. The other person says, yeah, I had no idea that was bothering you. Cool. Where should I put my stuff? Because when I come in, I don't want to go into the room, put my stuff there, go to this room, go to that. Hey, you know what? Why don't we get you a nice little cubby for right here? Set your purse and your keys on top, put your shoes in, boom. Everything's put away immediately the moment you walk in the door. Great. That's awesome. Thank you for suggesting that. That right there, that easy to solve your concerns. So conflicts are super fast. Conflicts are stupidly fast, you guys. It's so easy to take care of them. So this is why in secure relationships, you're able to fully relax. It is like getting home and putting down your keys on your cubby. It is like walking in and being fully relaxed because your partner is not going to blindside you in a conflict and then try to rip everything from you and you have to defend yourself. If there's a problem, your partner's going to come to you and say, hey, there's an issue here. Can we solve it together? Yeah. Your partner's not making you guess what they need at the end of the day. Your partner's also asking you, hey, I know you have a hard day tomorrow. How can I help? My wife asks me, anytime I have a difficult day, she knows. And she says, hey, I know you're going to have a hard day tomorrow. How can I help? I used to say when I was young, yeah, I don't need anything. I'm okay. There's nothing you can do. And that was the worst answer because she was wanting to help. So now I stop and say, you know what? I could use this. Is this okay? Could you do this for me? Yeah, I'd love to do that for you. Thank you. Very simple in a secure relationship. Imagine being able to fully relax. This is because in a secure relationship, the other person is self-policing in their morals and in their ethics. You don't have to be on guard all the time. Are they going to be honest? Do I have to police them? Do I check their phone? Do I do this? What do I have to do? Do I have to make sure they do? No. The other person, remember, level 4 trust. The other person says, I have goals that I want to reach, and I'm only going to reach those goals if I am honest, if I have integrity, if I connect with people in an authentic way instead of lying, if I treat my partner with love and respect. They are self-policing. So if they ever cross, it's not that they're perfect, but if they ever cross the line, you tell them and they say, well, you're right. I'm really sorry about that. Let me fix that. I'll do it right now. And they just do. No defensiveness, no anger, no resentment. Just boom. All right, let me fix it. Not perfect, but loving. Now, this is why when conflicts do arise in secure relationships, like I said, they're not perfect. Conflicts will arise. But when they do, you both want to resolve those conflicts quickly and with as little friction as possible. Not by avoiding, but by actually resolving the issue. Because you both have this, you want to get back to loving each other. So you're cooperative. You take care of each other. You make the relationship work. You both do the work to make the relationship work. And because you have all of this, you can share relaxing moments together way more often. For example, vacations in a securely attached relationship are a truly refreshing experience with no risk of fighting and blowing up and ruining the relationship during the vacation. You actually get to relax and enjoy the experience together. Holidays together are special, and they grow more fulfilling with every season as you build your traditions together across the years. They don't turn into huge fights. And did I get the right gift? Did I get you the right things? Did this happen right? Did this happen? It's, hey, you know what? This was a wonderful experience. I look forward to the next one with you. All of this builds together so that you can face challenges together and know that the other person has your best interests at heart. Every time you hit a hard season in life, you can get through the hardest days as they support you, sometimes in little ways, sometimes in big ways, like with a hot meal to come home to, or a warm hug when you need it most, or when you're sick. They're there to take care of you. This is not super obsessive codependency with strings attached. They just want to help you because they love you. And you feel the same in return, and you take care of each other. This is something called voluntary interdependence, where you're not dependent on each other, but you choose to depend on each other in special ways that makes you both stronger as a couple. So, guys, I get that this might be the first time you've really seen a model like this, and I'm describing something weird. I'm describing my own marriage, is what I'm describing, and the marriages that I help people build, but I get that this might feel weird. So, stop for a moment. Imagine being in a relationship like this one that I've described. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel that relief of being fully understood and cherished and respected. That's what a secure relationship can do for you. And this can be built on purpose. It doesn't just happen to you. Now, after a lifetime of resisting love, Marcus finally built this sort of a relationship with a woman that he knew. And he knew he could trust her. But he had been rejecting love all of his life, and he could not have done this without fixing his attachment issues first, so he was open for that kind of a connection. So, be honest here. Does Marcus's story sound familiar to you? You might feel stuck like Marcus did at the beginning. I know how hard that can be, feeling like you are trapped in an endless cycle that is just never going to stop. But what if I told you that there is a way out? That I can help you just like I helped Marcus. I offer personal, one-on-one coaching with direct assistance to help you accelerate the process of learning how to fix your attachment, of solving these issues at their core so that you can finally get that connection you're looking for. Now, what sets my coaching apart from others? Number one, I've got 15 years of training and experience. I was a licensed marriage and family therapist for many years. I have a master's degree in psychology. I specialized all of these years into fixing relationships. I am solution focused, not feelings focused, results driven. My goal is to get you the results you're looking for. When you sit down in a session with me, it's not, let's talk about your feelings, let's float through, and then next week, we'll talk about them again. It is, what do you want to accomplish this time? What is the biggest problem you're facing? Tell me, and I will build you a plan step by step to show you exactly how to achieve what you want to achieve, with steps so simple anyone can follow them and get the results you're looking for. This is why avoidant men who come to me in their 50s and 60s can build loving, intimate relationships, even after 5-6 decades of resisting love and feeling like they're never going to get connected. This is why men who have children that they feel alienated from can start building warm, loving relationships with their teenagers and their 20-year-olds, maybe even their grandchildren. This is why men who are married and feel like the marriage is awful and it's never going to get better can learn about emotional intimacy and start building a love that makes their wife love them again. And not just tactically makes her, but guides her in an intimate, authentic way to discover the goodness that he offers and the love that he really does feel for her so that she can reciprocate in return. This is why guys come to me when dating has burned them out and they feel like they're going to be alone forever, because I show them step by step how dating is supposed to work when you're securely attached. You might have seen my earlier videos on the 2 different dating pools, on the 3-date method, on all of those connection points that help you build authentic relationships from day one. Just like Marcus, to go from no results to a loving, thriving relationship headed toward confident marriage and easy commitment. So don't just take my word for it. Here's what people are saying about working with me.
I genuinely feel forever indebted to Adam. When I came to Adam, I was in a place of searching, needing, desperately looking for some guidance and some support, and he provided that fully.
Hi, my name is Shahriar Rasiki, and I have been part of the attachment circle now for about 8 months, and it has been the most impactful thing I've done for myself in the past 10 years.
Now, right now, for the month of November, for this Black Friday extended sale, I have a special limited time offer on single sessions and coaching packages right now that can help you solve these issues. This is the best price all year long, and you're not going to see these prices again for another year. So if you want to solve these issues now instead of another year of heartache, pick up a package very quickly so that I can help you. The value of this goes way beyond $1, you guys. It's transformation, it's love, and it's authentic connection. If you take action now, you can get unstuck for good. You can find hope in your romantic life. You can build real connections, not only with a loving partner, but with friends and family that you've never been able to open up with before. You can find lasting love with someone who is really special to you and makes you feel warm and relaxed on the inside, like coming home. And you can get a loving partner for all those future holidays so that 10 years from now, you can toast with a glass of eggnog and say, I can't believe it, but we're here. And I am so happy to be with you. So if you have been feeling disconnected, lonely, and lost for most of your life, this is your call. It's time to transform your dating life by fixing your attachment style and finally becoming secure. And I am ready to help you. So remember this, no matter what instability or pain or neglect that you experienced growing up, lasting change is completely possible. You can build a romantic love that lasts for a lifetime, but it all hinges on resolving your attachment issues and becoming fully secure. This is possible, you guys, and you can achieve the lasting change that gets you a loving partner that you can trust. Now imagine spending every weekend for the rest of your life curled up with the person that you love, or sharing adventures in a world with a companion that you can truly relax with. This can happen. So don't waste another holiday season feeling lonely and frustrated. With the right help from a proven coach, you can create secure emotional bonds and finally attract that fulfilling relationship that you desire. So yes, I've got the biggest sale of the year going right now, but a life-changing transformation is not measured in dollars. It's measured in the warmth of shared moments and the embrace of a loving partner. So I am here to help. Every step of your journey, I'm here to help. Let's dive deep, discover your attachment style, and pave the path forward to the love that you deserve. Head to my coaching link in the description below and schedule your breakthrough call with me today. Let's get you on the path to lasting love and intimacy that you have been missing. You are one click away, guys, from changing your love story. Click that link and let's write your next chapter together.